meeting of the minds. Is there such a thing as a verbal contract? Is he if he made a verbal contract with his wife that I'm going to retire,
Hmm.
what is that? Can that be enforceable?
No,
Could it
no,
even be a verbal contract?
no. As between spouses, we make small verbal contracts all the time. I'll do this if you do that, or this is what I would like for my birthday. We're going to buy this house. It's your career first, and then mine. Um, in a marriage, if you have made an understanding and then one partner breaches, you don't get to enforce the verbal agreement. You have to decide whether or not you can live with it. And so one or the other or both of them have decided that they can't live like this anymore and they want to do something else.
Can't live like this anymore.
Hmm. And that means a lot
So
of different things. It doesn't, one man's torture is another man's heaven. That it's
right.
just not
So
right for
when you think about what women want, men, well, for one, men don't know what women want. Okay, let me just say that from the very beginning. Men do not know what women want. So
them.
I'm going to
Okay,
hope you guys can answer this question.
we're going to
Because
lead with learned incompetence. Here we go.
because most women, you know what? Let me bring a man on. I need some more male energy on here. Let me bring Andrew up. Andrew, Drew, help a brother out. Help me. I'm
Hey,
gonna get deep into
hey,
it. I'm getting deep into it, man. First, introduce
I'm right
yourself,
here.
and I'm gonna throw this question out here, and I need some backup on this one.
Yeah, so I'm Drew Ware. I am the CEO of World Class Consulting. And let me tell you, I'm living the dream every single day. And I really want to chime in. Here's what I want you all to think about. Remember, Tom Brady was doing football before he met his wife, the supermodel. And 90% of what he was doing, it was all about football. So he's probably perhaps spent 10%. And then once they had kids, 20% with the kids, 80% doing what he was doing. So what happens is when your spouse says, "Hey, I want you to give all that up," that's all he knows. So I think he tried it. And within those 40 days, he realized that's all he knows. So I'll go ahead and listen. But I just think that from a man's point of view, you have to look at we all are a creature of habit. And what happens within a relationship is so different because women are such emotional creatures, and we just do everything based upon what we do every single day, and oftentimes we don't know what we're doing until the women sort of like leads us to say, "Hey, you realize you're doing that? You're right, perhaps I am." So I think he's just doing what he's doing. Brady's going to be fine. He's worth about 2-3 billion dollars when it's all said and done.
Well, officially 250 million, but that was before he signed the big contract with is it Fox Network to be a commentator
That is correct.
after his career is over. But I want to get back to this.
I want to, if I can jump in
Go
just for
ahead.
a
Go ahead,
second,
please.
because one of the things that I've been hearing a lot from men is the discounting of Giselle's career. First of all, she is worth more money. That's
400
number
million.
one. And as a former model, I'm going to say that the conversation surrounding her work, deeming it less important, not as impactful, is part of the problem. Okay, Giselle is not the reason why he's having a bad season. Is why are we attributing his failure on the field to his wife? Whatever
Okay.
It's a
arrangement they
Okay. So
had,
let's unpack
okay,
that a little bit.
well, I
Um,
know where
I
to
take
start.
exception
I
to
think
that.
the place to start is to realize that by controlling the narrative the way that they have and only telling us the end result at the very end, we have no idea when this started. We have no idea of the timing or the sequence of events behind this decision and this agreement. We don't know. They could have started this in January.
Well, it's been going on for years. It's been reported that she wanted him out of football for years,
But did
and
she
which
ever
is
say
fair.
that?
I'm sorry.
Did she ever say that? Do we
I
have
think
anything with Giselle
yeah.
saying, I want Tom and
Well,
I made an agreement
it's
if he
actually
would
on
do 3
record.
more years?
Yeah, well, not 3 years, but it's on record that she has made comments over time, years, that she wasn't happy with him playing football. It's I think last season, she said that, and I don't want to quote her, but how she discussed how football is a violent sport, how he suffers from football. She even brought up the fact that he may have had a concussion from football, and how she didn't want him to play football. And so, and then also, I think that it is. And so I heard that with my own ears. And then it was reported that over years they've been discussing this. And so I do want to say that, and I don't want to beat up on her. But what I hear a lot, from, especially from females, is that how selfish she is. And I mentioned this before, how selfish she is, and not doing this to her family. But to Andrew Ware's point, this is what a guy's been doing every day, 6 days a week, since 6 years old. And, to be drafted toward the end, and to be general consensus to be the best to ever do that, ever, it's a hard thing to give up.
And then there's therapy. This is why when people get married, they need to have honest discussions about what the expectations are. Yes, he's been an athlete all his life. He's been number one all of his life. It's hard for him to walk away from it, just like it would be hard for any person in any other public profession to walk away from it. Michael Jordan had to do it. Other athletes have had to do it. I think what is disheartening, displeasing to me about the discussion is how one-sided it is. We know that everyone loves Tom Brady, and that's great. But a lot of the conversations that I've heard and I've read have been centered on how awful she is for forcing him to come home and deal with her and the kids. She should know that he loves football. He can't control his feelings when he's on the court and she's walking away from. Where's the personal responsibility in this?
Do you think it's tied up in patriotism?
100%.
Idea of football as this whole like American thing, because Tom Brady did, I think he said, and I don't know a quote, so don't quote me, but I think he said something like, when he goes into football season, it's basically the same as being deployed.
Yes.
And I'm a veteran, and I can tell you it's not the same. But I can understand sort of, what he's getting at. Like, he only knows how to put his head down and be football.
First, I'm a veteran also, and I appreciate your service. And so, what branch?
Air Force.
I take that back. All right, so
but
Wow.
he really
Wow.
Wow. he has
Wow.
to really assess who he is. At the end of the day, Tom Brady will not be Mr. Football forever. Just ask Dan Marino. Just ask the great quarterbacks of this era. There is life after football. And as great as he is, he has to determine, okay, after football, he tried apparently, but so often, as Adrian said, we see the end results of a divorce, but there's so often trouble brewing for years or months, and then something happens, and that is the final straw. So whatever happened, both Giselle and Tom, they are wealthy people. They are going to be okay.
They are.
They said the people around them, because they're both a business, they have children, they have family, they are a huge entity. That's where we have to look at those who are surrounding them. They're going to make sure that they're okay and they're taken care of. And the Bucks are going to be okay after Tom Brady.
You do wonder, though, when is enough enough? Like, looking at their combined net worth, if playing the game is hurting him and it's taking him away from his family, and those things are ostensibly important to him, at what point does keeping the $30 million contract become not good enough? Like, when does it become less relevant. And I understand the other side of it. As long as I can keep playing and keep getting these contracts, I'm going to keep it going. But when is enough?
I think, if we move the conversation from football to perhaps the music industry, do we tell someone who's been in for 20 years, 30 years, okay, don't make another album, don't go on tour one more time? Would we say that? And when we bring Michael Vick into the conversation, we have to acknowledge that all things aren't considered equal with Michael Vick and with Tom Brady.
But you made a
Race.
good point. Before we switch to pivot to Vic,
Mhm.
no one is telling the Rolling Stones, who's been touring my entire life, to
Nope.
don't tour again.
No one is saying, maybe you should sit down. Maybe first, let's do this. How about our Congress? Why do we have people in Congress who were born in the 1940s? Why haven't they been told to sit down? Why haven't they been told to sit this round out and to give it up? Is it because it's not physical? Because it's not demanding? Listen, we don't know what is going on with Tom Brady. And I think that this conversation surrounded them, in my opinion, steep with patriarchy. That's number one. There are some race implications and a significant devaluing of Giselle as a mother, as a primary caregiver. And I think it was just a disrespectful statement for him to say that it feels like deployment. I know boxers, when they go into training, they're not saying it feels like deployment. They know that when it's time to train, there are no women around, there's no alcohol, no drugs, no anything. They are tunnel vision. If Russell Wilson had said, you know what, I'm going into this season, it's like I'm being deployed, would there have been the same response? America loves Tom Brady, and
Okay.
Tom Brady is going to be fine.
Okay,
America
so boxing.
loves Tom Brady to the point that this is his civic duty. He must continue to play.